Hello and good morning. Welcome to everyone to this webinar on this Monday morning. Today's webinar, the topic of today's webinar is going to be the Reyee Wi-Fi topic. We hope that you, after watching this webinar, you're going to be a Wi-Fi specialist, as it says here on the first slide. So, what are we going to talk about this morning? First of all, we're going to have a short PowerPoint presentation where we talk about especially the access points from Reyee we're offering. And later on, we're going to do a little demo where we're going to see how to set up a router with an access point, and talk a little bit about the captive portal solution, for example, for restaurants and hotels, and just to show you how easy it actually is to set it up through the Reyee cloud. Exactly, quite easy as you can see later on. So I would say let's just get started with the PowerPoint presentation first, just to give you an idea of the access points we're offering, and also that you get an idea how to choose your Wi-Fi access point, which one is the most fitting one for your installation. So first up, we're going to talk about the naming of the Reyee access points. So this is what it actually says. So the RAP is the series access point. So it already says in its name. The first two letters obviously is the brand itself, Reyee. Then we have the access points, which is the product series. And then we have 4 digits, which gives us kind of an idea what type of access point it is. First digit is the installation scenario. So if it's a mount, it's a wall mount, or if it's a ceiling mount. The second digit is giving us an idea how many bands we have, if it's dual or a single band. Then the third digit is going to be the Wi-Fi generation. We're going to talk about this later on. Also how many different types of Wi-Fi generations we have, and exactly which devices have which generation. And then the fourth digit is going to be the product form. And then the last 2 letters at the end is going to be the product grade itself. And then we have some featured functionalities which this access point might offer. So this is basically just the name, the sequential naming of those access points. So when you look for an access point on our website, by the product name, you can already have an idea what type of access point it is. To make this a little bit more visual, so what we just have seen before with the sequential naming, here we have the different options we can find in this naming. So first up, as I said before, obviously it's an access point. It is from the RAP series, so an access point. Then the installation scenarios, if we have a wall mount, if we have a ceiling mount, or if it's even an outside or an outdoor access point. So depending on this number, we can define what type of installation scenario we have. Then next up, we have the number of bands. If it's just a single band, if it's a dual band, or if it's even a trial band with the higher end devices. Then we have different types of Wi-Fi generations. In this case, if it's a 555 or if it's a Wi-Fi 6 generation, later on you're going to see that we also have another naming scale for the second series of the access points, where we also have more Wi-Fi generations. Then basically the shape itself from the device, as you can see, we have 3 different shapes. If we have a square shape, which is basically have a ball shape, which most likely are going to be the outside access points, and we have a circular shape as well in this series. Then the grade. As we can see, we have here 3 different types of grades, 4 different types. Basically, it's the general or the mainstream grade. We have the enhanced grade, and we have the high grade. So basically, with those 3 letters, G, E, or H, you can see what type of grade your access point has. And as I said before, the last digit or the last letter of the sequential naming is if it's fast Ethernet, or if our access point has PoE, the option of PoE out, which could be a good option as well if you're looking for that. Great. Next up, as I said, then we have the other series. We call it here the, once again, the sequential naming of the RAP series, brought from 0623. It's the sequential naming at the beginning is similar. It starts again with the RAP sequential naming, which says it's an access point. Then the first digit, as I said before, in this series, we also have the Wi-Fi 7 generation, not like in the other series. So here the first digit is basically giving us the indicator that it's a Wi-Fi 7 generation access point. Then we have the second digit, as in the other one as well, depends on if you want a dual radio, a tri-radio, or even 4 of them. So that number is indicating this information. Then the HD, or the first letter in the naming itself, gives us again the information of the product grade, depending on what we're looking for, if it's Pro, HD, M, or MAX. And then the second letter is basically what is the mount. So if it's a ceiling access point, if it's an outdoor unit, right? Depending on if you have an omnidirectional or if I have just one direction, this is also defined in the second letter of the naming. And then we have, of course, the wall mount option, just the classic wall mount option, or if we want to have a PoE out, it is indicated with WP, with wall access point with power over Ethernet outlet ports. So this is basically just the naming of those access points, which I said before is just give you a general idea before getting into the specifications of the device. You can already see what the type of device you see in front of you. And then also here, to make it again a little bit more visual, we have put it together here on this sheet. First of all, again, we have the access point. We have the 3 different generation we offer, from Wi-Fi 5 all the way to Wi-Fi 7. We have the different bands with 2, 3, and 4, which is also indicated in the name itself. Then we again have the grade itself with the entry level. If it's just blank, we have the higher speeds with the Pro version, the high density, and also the extreme performance with which is indicated as max, and then the additional specification depending on the mount or where we want to mount it. As I said before, blank is a ceiling access point. We have the outer access points with omnidirectional and directional, the wall access point, and again the wall access point with PoE out. Next up, now we have talked about the naming itself of the device. Here just a short overview of the indoor units we have to offer, or the indoor access points and the outdoor access points. Here first up we have a couple of devices for the indoor application. Those indoor applications go again from Wi-Fi 5 all the way up to 6 and 7. We have different types of mounts. As you can see in the second point, we have a ceiling mount, but also we have a wall mount. As you can see, the first device on the left side is basically a wall mount, pretty nice to install, not really thick at all, so a nice nice wall mount. The different types of shapes we have seen before, just written here. We can see the different types of shapes with the squares and also the round ones. And then also the access points offer optional up-port links, right? For fast Ethernet, so basically 10 and 100 megabytes per second, we have the gigabyte ports, uplink ports, but also we have the 2.5 multi-gigabyte uplink ports. Additionally to that, the indoor access points have transmission speeds all the way up to 6,000 megabits per second. And then also like the antennas, most of them obviously offer the 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz per second. Additionally to that, the recommended range for those access points, indoor access points, the 2.4 gigahertz, we have a range or a recommended covered range all the way to up to 40 meters. Open field, I want to mention at this point also. So depending on how many obstacles you have in between, this coverage is obviously going to go a little bit more down. And with the 5 gigahertz, we have all the way to 70 meters open field again. Later on, we're going to go a little bit into this as well, about the different ranges we have for 2.4 gigahertz and the 5 gigahertz range. So basically, this is just a short overview of our Reyee access points for the indoor application. Then next up, we have the outdoor units. As you can see here, again, we have 5 and 6. The 5 or 6 Wi-Fi options here. We have mainly wall mounts in this case because it's outdoor units, right? So basically the wall mounts, we have the different types of shapes and models we can offer here with the round and the square models. As you can see also on the left side, the option with the Omni antennas, which is a pretty small device. As you can see, it's basically like a remote control we know from our television. So just about 200 millimeters height and 50 millimeters of width. So basically a super skinny and small antenna, also almost not visible. What do we have here with the up-port links for the outdoor units? We have again like 1,000 and 1,000 megabytes per second uplink ports. We have also 2.5 multi-gigabit uplink, and also those some of the devices offer an SFP port up to 1,000 megabytes per second. So here basically with those 3 options we cover all the different scenarios. Again, here we have transmission speeds all the way up to 6,000 megabytes per second. Here again, the 2 bands we have 2.4 and 5 gigahertz. And here, because those are outdoor units, the Wi-Fi coverage is a little bit higher, the antennas are a little bit stronger. So with the 2.4 gigahertz band, we have an Wi-Fi coverage all the way up to 150 meters. Obviously, again, in open field, every obstacle which might be in between that can obviously have effect on that coverage. And with the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi coverage range, we also have 150 meters again in the open field. Great, so this was basically just a little overview of the devices itself with a few specifications I wanted to say with the naming, so you know when you look for a device how to check for it. Now let's talk a little bit about the benefits in general from Reyee, and also let's get a little bit more into the captive portal and this was basically the demo what this is all about today, like how to set up a captive portal for or a Wi-Fi, how to set up in a restaurant or, for example, in a hotel situation. So benefits. Exactly, hotel Wi-Fi access, the captive portal. We're going to see it later on in the demo. This portal is super easy to configure and also gives us a lot of options to basically personalize our portal. There's so many different options. We can create our portal design-wise. We can also put like a commercial part in it, so we can basically have advertisement in our captive portal. And so basically, it's pretty simple to set up. You're going to see it later on. So this is basically one of the main benefits. Everything can be set up through the cloud itself. As I mentioned in previous webinars, the cloud is completely for free. So I think this is one of the biggest advantages of Reyee itself and of this captive portal or hotel Wi-Fi access options. We have here just a little demo how it could look like and how you can basically personalize your portal with the different types of options we're going to see later on in the demo as well. Obviously, Reyee and through the cloud. Also, if we talk about Wi-Fi, everything can be also set up through VPN tunnels. So an additional benefit. Again, everything's super easy to configure in the cloud itself. We're not going to go too much into this part. We had a webinar in the past where we talked about tunnels, but we're going to have one later upcoming. We have one webinar upcoming about this topic as well. So we're not going to talk about this too much. And now we're going to go a little bit more into the technical part itself. The use of VLAN, and later on obviously the use of Wi-Fi itself, because the VLAN basically is a part of the captive portal, which we're going to see later on. Here just a short overview. What is a VLAN actually? So the name itself, so it's a virtual local area network. So it's basically something to manage your network traffic efficiently and also secure, which obviously is an important point. So you can basically divide physical network into multiple logical networks. You can separate them and isolate them. By isolating your networks, you can then obviously improve your security, which again is quite important, especially in a captive portal or in a Wi-Fi situation where you let, for example, a hotel guest access your network. You don't want to have them have the opportunity to access your main network, or for example, whatever network or whatever system you have implement, for example, your CCTV or access control, etc. So security, a big point. Obviously, also by creating the VLANs and separating them, you also can enhance your performance. So you can basically limit your traffic, right? You limit your traffic by separating your networks or your LANs, your VLANs. This gives you an enhanced performance. Easy to manage. So the easy management through the cloud is a big point, and also the flexibility is there because everything can be managed through the cloud, through the Reyee cloud. It's definitely super easy and flexible to manage. So those are the main points here of the VLAN. Then obviously the guest Wi-Fi is a point of that. As you can see now in the demo, we have different options of how to set it up. Obviously, we're going to check just for a minute how to set up a guest Wi-Fi if we have just a standalone router. And then later on also if you want to combine it maybe with an access point and create a captive portal. So here the guest Wi-Fi yeah, pretty simple as it says in the first point. So basically allows internet access to visitors without giving them main access to the main network. Then the setup for business, households, etc. for visitors. Again, giving them access to and not giving them access to main network. The isolation, as I said before, in the VLAN as well is a big point. We definitely want to have our guest Wi-Fi isolate from all the other networks. And basically all the other points are pretty similar to the VLAN as well. This is obviously enhances your security, and again, it's pretty simple to configure through your setup through the cloud itself. Exactly. So it's highly customizable. So a big benefit here with the VLAN and the guest Wi-Fi setup from Reyee itself. Then I would say let's go into the second part of this webinar, which is going to be the demo part. What are we going to talk about in this second part, which is the demo part? I have here a couple of points written down. We're going to obviously talk about the router, how it's set up, even though I've already added the router in the cloud itself. We have talked about the basics in previous webinars. So if you want to have more information about that, you can check our previous webinars. We're going to talk about the VLAN and the guest Wi-Fi, what I've just talked about. Especially VLAN is a big part of the captive portal, because first up we have to set up a VLAN before we can set up basically a captive portal, because we want to definitely isolate our captive portal and the specific VLAN from the main network. And then the last point, like I just said, is basically the captive portal. So what is basically the captive portal? So it's basically just a web page that connects users to a Wi-Fi or even to a wired network. We can see that also that we can connect people, or people can connect to the wired network as well, which is redirected through to a web browser. And before this is being granted or broadcasted, it needs to be verified by the cloud. So this is basically what it is. So it is basically used commonly to display a landing page first up. So you're gonna log into the captive portal, which is gonna show up in your Wi-Fi list on your phone, etc. This brings you to a landing page where you have to do your authentication, make a payment, etc. Depending on how you want to set up your captive portal. We're going to see now in the demo what different options we have, how to do the authentication, etc. Exactly, and accept the users obviously have to accept like an end user license agreement, and agree to the policy, which we also can define. Exactly, that's basically what it is. A couple of key advantages. The Reyee Cloud offers a quick portal authentication through the cloud, as I just said. The configuration is quite easy and efficient. The user management is also quite efficient and easy. You can see that later on as well. And it can also be used as a platform for advertisement, for example. Depending where you're going to use it, if it's in a shopping mall, etc., you can use it also as advertisement. So basically, just generate like a commercial value to this captive portal as well. And yeah, as I said, it's basically 4 simple steps for your end user. You just want to basically access your internet. You get a code, for example, you log into your code. The access point, which you want to connect, transmits this voucher to the Reyee Cloud. The Reyee Cloud checks this voucher, sends the result to the access point, and then the user which wants to log into the network then gets access to your captive portal or to the internet. So this is basically what it is, just in a easy explained. Now we're going to see how that looks like. Okay, thanks for listening to the first part. Then I would say let's go into the second part. And let's close this this PowerPoint presentation. Let's see. Just additionally, before we go into the configuration itself, I just want to add a couple of more points, just specifications, because we have seen that we have access points with different types of Wi-Fi. So Wi-Fi goes from all the way from 4 up to 7. If you want to know a little bit more of the difference between the different types of Wi-Fis, we have also here on our knowledge base a nice article which was created by Ferdy, just have an idea, my colleague Ferdy, to have an idea what are the differences between the Wi-Fi 4, 5, 6 and 7, just put together in a small document. So everything about networking, just the Wi-Fi, different Wi-Fis explained. Exactly, this is what I just wanted to add to this, and also additionally to this, when we talked about Wi-Fi 5, 4, 5, 6 and 7, I would also would like to add something about the difference between the different bands, right? Because the different types of Wi-Fis offer 2.4, 5, or even 6 gigahertz bands. And what is the difference between it? What is the main difference to it? So basically, just to have a general idea what the difference is. Basically, the main difference between the 2.4 and the 5 gigahertz range is that the 2.4 just offers a longer range. So definitely suits better for larger areas, which physical barriers like walls. But also you have to understand that obviously the speed is limited. So generally speaking, the speed is slower. So and at the other hand, the 5 gigahertz Wi-Fi range has like a smaller how can I say it? A smaller area it can cover, but obviously the speeds are higher. So this is just basically the main differences. What is also good to know is like especially 2.4 gigahertz band has also more interferences or has more issues with interference from other devices, like for example cordless phones, etc. Just different types of devices. So and the 5 gigahertz band has less interferences due to fewer devices operating in this bands. So this just additionally to the specs we just talked about in the PowerPoint before. Okay, now let's go into the demo part. Therefore, we're going to look into our cloud. Beforehand, I have already set it up. As you can see here, when I log into my cloud, I have already here my Reyee Wi-Fi project created. I have a scenario which I can choose when I set up the project. Here I've chosen a restaurant. Like I said, it could be a restaurant, a bar, a hotel, for example, where this captive portal could be interesting. If we go into it, let's log in again. If we go into it, as you can see, it's pretty simple. If we go into the devices, what I basically have set up is, oh wait, this is the wrong project. Let's change to Wi-Fi, there we go. And also in the workspaces, as you can see it. I have basically used an EG series router. I have a PoE switch, and I have an access point wired to my access point powered. So the switch is powering my access point. This is basically the main setup. As you can see here, also in the device list, my access point, my EG series router plus my switch. Also important that you also always check if the devices are on the latest firmware. If not, you can directly update it here in the cloud itself. Okay, great. So first up, we're just going to go through the basic setup of a Wi-Fi. If we just would imagine to have just the router itself without any access point itself, therefore what we can do, we can just log into our router itself through the tunnel, the eWeb. We create a tunnel. We can log into all our devices through this eWeb option. Generates a tunnel which redirects you directly to the device itself. As you can see here. Here we have the whole topology of our setup, and we also have here our networks. If you click on network itself, what we can do here, we have here our Wi-Fi settings. What I can do here is just basically pretty simple, just add different types of Wi-Fis. I have my default Wi-Fi is already set up. I have here the captive portal Wi-Fi with which I've set up obviously now for the demo. I have another Wi-Fi setup or a VLAN setup for a colleague of mine, and I also could set up here just a simple guest Wi-Fi. Therefore, click on guest Wi-Fi. I can give my guest Wi-Fi obviously an SSID. I can change that, right? I can just change it to guest. I can choose if I want to have 2.4 or 5 gigahertz, or if I just want to have 2.4 or 5. I can choose what type of security I want to use, right? Create my password I'm going to use for this guest Wi-Fi. Exactly, so just type in a password. And then I have also a few more options here. If I want to create my guest Wi-Fi, the effective time I can set up. It can be always on, an hour, 6 hours, 12 hours, or I can also customize it other time. Here I can basically customize it and can do a wireless schedule when it should be on, right? For example, if a restaurant is not open in the morning, I just basically turn it off. Those types of options I have. The client isolation is always on by default and can also not be turned off. Also with the purpose that the device clients cannot communicate with each other. I can also hide the SSID if I would like to, etc. So basically that easy it is to set up just a guest Wi-Fi, and then I just click on OK. Exactly, so that's what it is. Great, but what we want to mainly focus about is setting up the captive portal for a hotel, bar, etc. solution. Therefore, we're going to go back to our cloud, and we're just going to go through a few basic steps to set up this Wi-Fi captive portal. So first up, what we have to do is basically we have to create a VLAN, which then we can redirect our traffic and isolate it from all the other main networks. Okay, so therefore what we can do, we can just click basically here on our device configuration. I go into my gateway interface, and this is here my basically my main router. As you can see, I have here my one connection, and then here at the bottom what I can see is I have my VLAN configuration. I have my VLAN set up, my default VLAN already set up here with the range, etc. And I've here already previously created a VLAN idea and a second one. This VLAN idea, if you set up a new one, for example here, and add a new VLAN, this VLAN idea you have to write down, because that one you need later on to set up the captive portal. So I've already gave it the name captive portal, so I know that it's the VLAN I want to use. I do set up my IP address plus the DHCP pool range, and I can basically then just click on save and have a VLAN created. That one we're just going to delete because we're not going to use that one. So that's basically the first point. Okay. Then next up, what we're going to do is we're going to go back into our devices. And we go into workspace. What we have to know here is that we have here our main router. We go through a switch and we go to our access point. So what we're going to do is we want to now redirect our VLAN from our main router through the switch itself to our access point. So we want to give this VLAN access on our switch as well. So what we're going to do here, we go into our switch by clicking on the serial number. We can click on configuration, and what we can do here is basically we can set up, we have to add this VLAN here as well. And obviously you have to use the same VLAN ID. I gave it the same remark. And in interface, depending which port, I can set up which VLAN goes through which port. In this case, I have my VLAN port, my port number 1 used on this switch. My port type is trunk, so I give access several. I can give access to several VLANs. I'm using the VLAN ID number 1, which is the default VLAN as the native ID, and I give here I allow the VLAN to also access through this port, and this can be individually configured also on different types of ports, right? As you can see here, for example, if I would connect it to port number 4, I would just have access to I would give access just to my VLAN number 1. I could change this to trunk and also add like the allowed VLAN to it. So basically that's what we're going to do. And also we can do that also to our access point if, for example, our access point has the option of, or has a physical port. So in this case we have this option. We can see that here as well. So basically what I can do here, if I want to, let's for example imagine I have this access point in a hotel room, which gives obviously a Wi-Fi coverage, but also I want to give the client the option to connect the laptop to this access point, so he can physically connect it here to this LAN port. And what I can do, I can basically give here the access, either trunk or access, just the VLAN ID number 2. So this is basically, we're going now through all the devices and give the VLAN we have just created access to all the different devices we have, exactly. So after creating this VLAN, what we have to do, and after we basically gave it access to all the devices, what we have to do, we have to basically create an Wi-Fi for that, right? An SSID. So what we can do here, we just click on wireless, and here we go into the Wi-Fi settings. What I have done here previously, I've already created one. I have gave it the name captive portal just to keep it easy. I do have it on general. And then next point would be security. Here in this case, because we're going to do the security level later on in the captive portal, I have it on do not encrypted. So I'm not going to set any password, because later on, obviously we're going to create in the captive portal a voucher, an access code, etc. to access the Wi-Fi. So therefore I keep it open. Here I have the advanced options. That one is pretty important, because here I can choose basically between a user access point in the same VLAN or another VLAN. So basically what I'm defining here is this Wi-Fi is using the VLAN ID number 2. This is why I said before, when you set up the VLAN, remember the VLAN ID, because you have to fill it in here, okay? And then we have here the client isolation. We could turn on prior access. We have single client speed. We have different types of options we can set up here in the Wi-Fi settings. Okay. So after setting this up, we can click here on OK, and then we have here our Wi-Fi set up. You can also see here the other Wi-Fi. This one is the default Wi-Fi, which you can see we have a password, and the other one. And also here the different types of encryption methods to access, and also the frequency bands here, as you can see. For example, here that one I've created just for a test for domotic devices, just for 2.4. Okay, great. So we've created the VLAN, we have created the Wi-Fi. Now we have to get into the portal, or we have to set up the captive portal. We're going to do that here in authentication in accounts. So first up, we're going to go into captive portal. And we set up here our captive portal. If you want to create a new one, just add here captive portal and basically set it up. I have here already one created. and we're going to go into the settings. So we can give here a policy name. So you can also give it a name, captive portal, etc., just how you would like to have it. Then the next part is the policy mode. So how does the authentication should work? Is it through the cloud itself, the cloud authentication? Should it be locally, or it should be externally to a third-party system? We can also choose the authentication device between the gateway, which I've chosen here. We have an enterprise NBR switch, for example, or through the access point itself. I think the most easy way to do it is obviously through the cloud itself and through the Reyee gateway itself. Okay. Then next up, we have to select the network which the captive portal is using or redirecting. We can use a manual mode, or we can also use or select the mode, which is the easiest one. Just click on it here, and you can choose between the VLANs we have set up, between the default VLAN, the 233, or the VLAN 2 captive portal we set up before. Then we have the seamless online option. One second. So let me just see the different options we have here. In the policies we can set up basically, here my notes. So basically the seamless options, what we have here is the seamless option when seamless is online, enables the period, enables the Reyee authentication when the offline user reconnects to the network within the specific time period. So this is the seamless online option. This one can be defined in what is the period, when do we want to have this seamless online option on and off, or when is it going to be reset basically? Is it just for one day, for a week, for a month, for always? Or we can also do a customization. Then the portal escape, which I believe is a pretty important part. So basically what it is when this is enabled, users can bypass the captive portal if the portal or the authentication for whatever reason is failing. So this basically prevents a network-wide outage. So I would recommend having this on. If there's an issue, people can still log in and are not having issues with the authentication portal. So basically those are the main points, the main policy points we can set up in the portal itself. Then next up is going to be the setup, the visual setup of the portal itself. I think this is one of the main benefits of the cloud and of the captive portal here for Reyee. So it's highly customizable. You can basically use this platform, like I said before, displaying advertisement, customer help. So it gives you could give you a big commercial value. So therefore, we're just gonna go into the one I've already set up. If not, you can here just add a new page. Let's go into it, and we go into edit and see what options we have. Again, we have to give it a name. In this case, I've gave it the name voucher because I've set up here a voucher. So basically here we have all the different types of login options. So the first login option is the one-click login. Basically it's a login without any password or anything else. It's just basically it's redirecting you to this captive portal page. You have to access it through this one-click login, and then you have access to the network or to the internet. This duration, the access duration can be set up, can be unlimited, it can be 15 minutes, it can be 30 minutes, 60 minutes, or you can also customize it. So the custom duration, you can set up an access time per day. If it's, for example, in a bar or for example, in a cafe where a lot of students are, We have the maximum upload rate and the download rate we can set up, so we can basically customize everything. If we here choose the 15, 30 or 60, we can do the same with the access times per day, and we can also limit the maximum range, or we can also like customize it, right? So we can basically here set up what we want to give our customer, what upload and download rate we want to give. So highly customizable this login options. Then we have the vouchers, which I've set up here. So basically you just have access codes you can hand out. For example, if it's in hotel, when the client does a login, you get an voucher or an access code with your check-in. Then we have an account, which is basically you set up an account with login and password you can pass on to your client, or to the end user, better said. We have the SMS authentication to log in. And then we have the last option here, which would basically the registration. So in combination to all the other login options, if it's account, SMS, whatever, you can also have a registration option put in as requirement, so to keep track of who is basically logging into your captive portal. So those are the options we have here. Then next up we have the show the balance page. So if you limit the access to 30 minutes and to a certain, can I say it, to a certain upload or download rate, you can also show this balance here on the page itself, so the client sees how much time he still has to be logged in and how much upload and download rate he has. We have a post-login URL, so after doing your authentication on the portal, you can also have an URL set up. So after the login, it redirects you to this specific URL. If it's, for example, in a restaurant, like or in a hotel, just the main page of the hotel, or etc. Right? So that can be done as well. And then all the way down here, we have all the visual settings. Like I said, it's highly customizable. So you can basically set up your desktop and your mobile visual login completely. You can upload logins, as you can see here. For example, I have here the Visiotech logo already in. We have different backgrounds which are already here. We have solid colors we can choose from. We can also upload our background. We have a welcome text we can fill in, basically. We can upload here a message as well, so basically you can fill in everything like hello to this webinar. So basically just everything. You have your terms and conditions you can fill in. You have the copyright. If you have a one-click login, the login button, you can say, hey, what should this button say? You have the voucher. So if you have a voucher itself, you can basically configure all the different buttons. What should it say? Is it just access code, or should it say voucher, or etc.? As I said before, you also have the options of the advertisement. So you can basically upload pictures and videos to have your advertisement. You have the option of setting up the time of this advertisement, like how long does it show up, if it's for 3 seconds, etc. Do you allow your user to skip this advertisement, etc. So super easy and simple to use, and highly effective to set up this captive portal. Great, so let's see. Let's just close this. So after setting up our policy info, after setting up our portal page, we have to select it. As you can see here, it's already selected here with this, the left top here. We select it, then we say OK, and then we have set up our portal. Next up is now basically the user management, right? In the new user management itself, what we have to do, First up, we have to create different types of user groups, or if it's just one user group. Therefore, we click on Add, or here, that one I have already created. I set up here this test portal group. Here I can fill in a price if needed, if I want to charge the clients. I can define how many current devices can be connected in this specific group. Here it's 3. I have the period, so the limit, right? If it's unlimited or for how long this group is going to be online. We have the quota, which we can put on unlimited, or we can basically customize it or just set a quota for the specific group. We have a maximum upload and download rate again, and then we have also those 3 options. If you want to bind the device by MAC, bind the SSID /network, or the client disconnect, which also could be an option here, as it says when a current client is not set to unlimited, new clients will be unable to connect once the limit is exceeded. So basically what we have here is we can enable this, so a client will be disconnected by the local authentication, for example, by the Reyee router or the cloud, etc. If this one is exceeded. Great. So basically that's what we can do here. We set up our user group. Again, we can customize those groups. We can set up different types of groups, whatever the requirements are. And then after those groups we have created, we can then set up, depending what we have used before, what type of policy, we can set up either an account, so we can set our username, we can set a password, and we can choose the user group we have used before. And then we also can say, hey, what are the user information settings? So what do we need here? What the client needs to fill in to register. So that's basically the account options. We can also import this here, for example, as a bulk import. So we have a lot. If we have a lot of different accounts we want to set up, as it says here, up to 500 records can be imported at a time. We have a template we can download in XLSX file, so you can fill out your file and then select it and upload it again, just to make it a little bit easier. Exactly. Then next up would be the voucher option, which is the option I've chosen in this example. So here I've just added those 3 vouchers. The user group is portal. As you can see here, just one is used, which is the one I'm using on my test phone. Exactly, and just this type, the different types of information here with period, if I had to register, when it was created, etc. And if you just go a little bit here to the right, just some more information, as you can see here, the upload and download limit, the traffic, etc. So different types of options we can see here as well. Can be edited. It can be reset as well. For example, that one which is connected here right now is in use. I can basically just reset and kick out the user. I can disable it, or I can even delete it. Exactly. So those are the voucher codes. If I add a voucher, I can here define how many vouchers I want to add. I can say again from which for which group, if it's a test portal. User information settings for the registration if needed or wanted. And the advanced settings is basically the voucher code type, what type of access or what type of code I would like to have. It's just numeric, alphabetic, and numeric. Plus I can choose the voucher length just to make it more or less secure or more easier. Exactly. So this is basically what I can set up here in the voucher. And then here, if we're just going to do the registration, here basically what we're going to have in this list here, when somebody does the registration, or if we set up that the registration is required, we have here basically our all our users which have been registered, the total amount of accounts, the active accounts, and also the expired accounts. So this is basically this is basically it, quite simple and easy to set up with all this information. And here, just to give you an idea how it looks like, here just a little video when I connect. Here my captive portal is going to show up here, captive portal, I'm going to connect to it. This video has been done with the voucher. It's redirecting me to the portal itself, what I've set up before. I fill in my voucher code or my access code, however you want to call it. And as you can see also, I've put in a post URL after the login, plus also here, as you can see, the remaining time and the remaining quota, which I've enabled in this case, which is going to show up. And I have a post login URL also filled in, which is in this case is Visiotech security here directly is leading us to the network access point devices. So this is how it would look like when we would log in. Okay, great. So I think we covered basically everything. As you can see, it's quite simple to set up, just a few steps you have to keep in mind with setting up a VLAN, setting up an SSID, and basically just assigning that to the captive portal so you can redirect the traffic and isolate it from your main network. Then I'm just going to check if there are any questions or anything else. But no, it looks pretty good. So thank you for joining this webinar. I hope you're now a Wi-Fi specialist, as it says in the first slide of the PowerPoint presentation. And yeah, see you in the next webinar. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you for watching this video. If you want to know more about our security products, subscribe to the Visiotech channel and activate the notifications to always stay updated on the latest videos.